scintillating, searingly fast, master of Monaco laps by Michael Schumacher.
And into the pit lane. Oh, my goodness! David Coulthard smashes himself out of the Australia. I have never seen that before.
Will it rain, said Jim Rosenthal. Well, Murray Walker says yes, it will. But then maybe it won't. It's difficult to keep up with it. It's amazing. Yeah, I wondered. I wondered whether we were seeing any. I wondered whether that was a replay, Martin, or Eddie Irvine out of the race. If he takes provisional pole, it will be amazing. And it is. Hakkinen has not gone through. There is the McLaren going through the chicane. Look for it as here comes Michael Schumacher rejoining the track, and he's ahead of Mika Hakkinen. We're on lap 6 now.
Mr. Williams.
And look how much he made up, and he takes the lead. Fantastic! And the crowd roars. They love that. Oh, yeah, he's going to go the inside of him.
There was only really one way we could start that, wasn't there? We had to pay tribute there to obviously the late great Murray Walker, who died over the weekend, one of the iconic voices of F1, and just some of his finest moments there commentating on the sport. We are back for another evening of SlyDog Racing, however, and we're here for rounds 3 and 4, which is Japan, Short and Monaco. As always, with Aaron. How we doing, buddy?
Not too bad, Tom. How you doing, dude?
Yeah, not bad, thank you.
Had a good Monday as usual?
No, no, it wasn't a good Monday. But we're not here to talk about how poor my Monday was. We're here to see how bad these guys' Mondays are going to be when they get into Japan Short. Because it ain't a nice track, is it?
No, it's not a nice track. It's a bit of a pain in the arse, but you know, from what we've seen on the driver chat, they've all been practicing most of the afternoon, and Grant has actually made a spot on time. Really, he's, I think, listed himself number 44th in the world on the time trial for this circuit, so expect some big things there, I can imagine. But just want to quickly, before we dive into tonight's action, just take a little recap on what happened last week. Obviously, rounds 1 and 2. Bit of an interesting night, wasn't it, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, it started well. We had a cracking race at Britain Short and plenty of action to keep us occupied. Again, another short track, so it was fast-paced, and the qualifying was very interesting because we had loads of laps being done by people, whereas normally we'd maybe only see 3 or 4. We saw 5 or 6. And, of course, the wet as well in that race. But sadly, didn't follow for Russia because Russia never happened in the end, which was a bit of a shame.
Red flag off the start line for the first attempt, and then the second attempt very much the same thing. I think Grant got absolutely tanked into a wall, so it didn't go very well. So that race has been postponed for a later date in the schedule. So I'm sure that will come around very, very quickly, no doubt.
So yeah, we've obviously got another short track, as we've already mentioned, to look forward to. Just got the map up on the screen there of this, and you can see just how tiny it is. I mean, it's ridiculously quick. My fear here being, you know, a qualifying session, is that we are going to see some, you know, traffic, some issues there, because there's not much room to get out of the way when you're only doing a 30-second lap. So I think we're going to see a little bit of bargy maybe between a couple of people. Hopefully not too much. Hopefully everyone can get a safe and quick lap in without feeling too aggrieved. First drivers are starting to make their way out on track, so we will start to get you some times on the board. With this, I mean, the times are going to come so fast and so quick, it is just going to be a case of letting it happen, I think, and then recapping afterwards, because
I think
really
that's going to be the best way.
Really expecting things to move quick around here. So riding on board with Butters, which looks like to me one of the first people to head across the line to set a time. I think maybe Rockstar as well also got out. And I was Osborne, sorry, who got out quite quickly. We'll just keep an eye on him here. Maybe setting a benchmark. Maybe he's just going to take another lap to warm up his tyres. Not too sure. Again, you don't really get much time to do that either on a 30-second lap. So lots to consider for these guys heading around here. The final turn he's coming up to now. Lots of complaints about this. It really, really sneaks up on you because it's just on the crest of a hill. We'll keep an eye on Butters. Osborne sets a 34.9, Butters sets a 35.2, and we know that we have seen Grant setting, what was it, a 33 something or other? I can't remember what his exact time was.
Yeah.
So
it was bloody quick to say the least.
Yeah. Right, and I think we're joined by Butler for our little chat this evening, who's unfortunately got a quali ban for missing the check-in, but he does give us time to have a little word. So, are you there, buddy?
Chaps, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad, thank you, not bad. So, qualifying ban this week, obviously, having looked at how busy the track is at the moment, maybe that's not a bad thing, because it's a bit mental out there at the moment.
Yeah, staying out of people's way is a bit of a nightmare, to be fair. And I suppose it can't go much worse from starting at the back, so see how it goes.
No, I suppose the plan is just to try and stay out of trouble, really, I guess, first lap or so.
That's it, take no damage and watch the carnage unfold in front of me, I'd imagine.
I say you have got a good chance here to just let it all happen and maybe just sort of at least gain a couple of places if something does happen on that first turn, and the following turns afterwards, because people aren't going to be letting up easy around here, are they? There's not much room to make mistakes.
No, that's the trouble. I don't even fancy dive bombing. Just it's normally going to end in tears. It's quite narrow as well. You don't realise how narrow it is out on here. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's the narrowness, and then as soon as if you lose your line running through the S's of sector 2, you're going to start as soon as you're offline there. As soon as you touch that grass, it's game over, really. I think, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So obviously, you're a recent newcomer to the league. You joined towards the end of last season, and I think within your first week, you picked up a podium.
Yeah.
How are you finding it? How are you finding it here at SlyDog?
Yeah, to be fair, I'm really enjoying it. I race in a couple of other leagues, but this is by far my favourite, to be fair. Really clean, and I'm not the quickest, but I mean, well, I've been trying to keep up with Granty boy, but he's in a different league.
He is different gravy, but it would be nice to see someone stop him, and obviously the pace you've demonstrated over the past couple of rounds, you've certainly got it there to give him a run for his money.
Gonna do my best, and the teammate's pretty quick as well. Mogi's doing really well, so
Tom will love seeing the Williams up the front, wouldn't he, Tom?
Yeah, got a thing for Williams. Like to see him do well. Love an underdog.
I'll do my best.
Right then, Butler, we'll let you crack on, and we'll keep an eye on what's going on here in the qualifying session with 13 minutes remaining.
Yeah, nice. Cheers, chaps.
All the best for the race, mate.
Cheers, lads.
Right, you may have heard a couple of oohs, and that's because people are leaving the track when they're not meant to be. We've just seen Lawson take a little bit of a spin. Wheeler's had a little bit of an incident earlier on in this. Lawson's really struggling now. He's got some damage. He's not set a time yet either, so he's going to need to get on the board and get back out there at some point. But it is chaos out there. There's not much room at all. Just looking at the first turn, I can see that there's a racing point that's gone off. There's sector 2. It's just people trying to get out of the way, I think. But there's just not enough room to get it done on a full grid round here. But we will keep an eye on the action and try and make amends for missing so much at the moment. Chatty Duck at the moment, we'll ride on board with him because he's not set a time yet and looks like he's coming towards the end of his first hot lap. So we'll see where he can put himself on the grid. Had a bit of a nightmare last week. We'll be looking to rebound here. Let's see where he ends up. And he puts himself on the front row. That's how you do that, folks. You give yourself a good 4/10 gap as well over Mogi, who's in third. And only 3/10 off of Granty, who we know is incredibly quick round here. Yeah, we did do that on the mediums, though. I just had a look.
He's demonstrated some serious pace in that Red Bull, and it will certainly, the way the races are lining up tonight, having Monaco as the second race with the reverse grid could make that extremely interesting. So, the one I'm excited to see is Butler. Just having a chat with him. We've seen how quick he's been in the past couple of rounds. Starting from the back of the grid, that's going to be one to watch, I think.
But he does give himself a good chance at reverse grid pole by starting then down there. And we know that he's capable of pulling up the places quite quick. We saw that last week in Britain Short, that he did manage to, after I think he had maybe a disaster at a pit stop or maybe went off the track, but he had something going on, I think, and he did make up some time very quickly on the rest of the group. Whether or not that can be done at a circuit like this, because it's so it's so quick. I mean, we're going to be doing a 50% race round here, it should be said as well. But even that is going to go so quick. It's going to be a lot to keep an eye on.
It's a lot. Yeah, a lot of people seeming to make the mistake on the final turn there and just overshoot.
And I was watching Rockstar as he's retired from this session, and yeah, he's just unfortunately got the power down a little bit too early coming out of turn 1. And he smacked it into the whiteboarding on the right hand side there, and that is the end of his session. Luckily he did put in currently a third best time of 34.7, pressing Mixer out as well. I'm not too sure if that is just a genuine retirement or no, it looks like he's out in corner 2. So 2 cars already falling victim to this track really. Again, you're trying to go so quick, and, such a short amount of time to get the best out of the lap. It's tempting maybe to get the power down a little bit earlier than normal, and this is the consequence. As I see AlphaTauri do exactly the same thing. That was Wheeler for his second spin of the night, just do exactly what has caused Rockstar to lead the session, and Trem as well. Looks like Trem has come off. They're now dropping like flies. Yeah, that's the only way to put it.
It looks like Trem's come off sector 2. Is that just on the S's, like I said there earlier on to Butler? If you come offline in the S's there, you're in some serious trouble. And it looks like Trem's Renault buried in the wall.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just people pushing their setups to the limit, trying to get as little downforce as possible, and just losing it that little bit too much. Whether or not they've just pushed that one step too far, but it's certainly looking like a bit of a car killer so far. 3 cars out, and we still have 9 minutes to go in this qualifying session. We should start to recap the grid for you though. So as expected, Granty Boy setting a 34 dead at the moment. He's in pole. Chatty Duck looking to rebound from last week's results with a 34.3. Rockstar, who's out the session, currently sitting in third, 34.7, and he's got Mogi not too far off him at all, just a couple of hundredths to make up if he wants to get himself in third place. And obviously we'll get to the rest of the grid a bit later on. Still a couple of people to set laps. We haven't seen a McLaren driver set a lap at all yet. The NUFC fan Liam and Lawson both still need to get out there. And ZGS, who I think he tends to wait until the last minute to put his laps in, it seems. Maybe he just wants the track to himself, but it does take a little while to get himself on the grid.
Liam's just had a bit of a spin there. He set fastest sector 1 and then had a spin in his McLaren on the S's, much the same as Trem. Didn't write the car off, but has obviously, I assume, taken a little bit of light wing damage, so he might see him dive back into pit lane.
Needs to be careful though, because obviously he's not set a time yet. He needs to get something on the board here if he's going to be getting himself at least maybe into the top 10 on this grid. He has put a time on the board, but it's definitely not going to be a competitive one. We should mention Osborne, who's taken third position on the grid so far with a brilliant lap there, a 34.6. So Mogi with all the work to do to try and claw back that second row position that he had.
It looks like we're going to have a very similar battle to what we had last week round Britain Short, because we've got Rockstar and Osborne in both of the Haas cars running 3rd and 4th, and then Mogi running 5th, and that was a great battle between those guys last week out, wasn't it?
I think it was Butler who was in on that battle, if I remember, because he did the... not to bring this up again, guys, but he did both of them on one corner, and it's just stuck out so well, you know what I mean?
Well, it's good to see the Haas guys getting right up there again, though. It's great to see that. So it's exciting things to happen, and they're not afraid to race each other either, which is quite exciting.
No. You want a little bit of danger. So NUFC fan Liam does eventually get a hot lap in, and he's currently sitting at 35.3, which is good enough for 12th at the moment, but maybe just starting to feel his way into this circuit here. There's a little bit of he must have got out of the way there between Butters and Liam, it seems. He's getting a bit close. Right, we'll head back out to keep an eye on a couple of other drivers. Joseph Morados looks to be heading off on his next hot lap. Again, another driver that's been very quick towards the tail end of last season. We were hoping to see big things. Maybe didn't have the best of races. I think he had an incident at the beginning of Britain Short, didn't he, last week?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, he didn't have a great outing last week, unfortunately, and I think he had a big issue in Russia as well. But
well, he was leading in Russia, wasn't he? He was like a 10 seconds up in the first race before he got abandoned. And that's why we mention it. And I should also say we have actually seen Granty Boy lose pole. I mean, I don't think he's set a lap on the softs yet, but Chatty Duck has taken pole off of Granty Boy. only by, what is it, 8,000ths of a second? Jesus.
It is touch and go, and you know that the difference between those softs and mediums, it's going to need to be a bit more of a bigger gap there under the floor.
Oh yeah. So Grunty Boy is back out on the track, and he is racing still on those 2-lap-old mediums. So I wonder if he's thinking, I can go 8,000ths quicker. That's no problem. That's all I think he needs to do.
Longevity of the race, starting up the front, get out on the mediums and try and pull a gap, really, I think is what he's maybe looking at here.
Yeah. We'll ride on board with him then, because he's got a little bit of work to do here. He needs a flawless lap on these mediums if he wants to stay on the mediums. He has, of course, got a lot of time to go back in and sling the softs on if he needs to. Of course, being a 30-second lap, that's the benefit round here. You haven't got to panic at the last minute.
So, Tom, with 5 minutes left in the session, and whilst people are on their out laps and just getting ready to do the final little stints, do you think it's time for a continuation of the new segment?
Do you mean beer chat?
Oh, did someone say beer chat?
I think they did.
That's what we mean.
Here it comes.
Chat driving thing. Formula One driving.
Wow. Took a bit longer to play than I thought it would, but we got there in the end.
New jingle, though. It's the new jingle.
New jingle for beer chat. But I think it's a bit early for beer chat. You coaxed me into that. We've got 4 minutes left of this session. Let's get the session done, and then I think we should have a rerun of that, because there's still plenty to happen here. We've seen Grantley Boy has had to dive into the pits to get the mediums on. That's what I'm interested to get the softs on. So he's going to have to set his fastest lap on the softs and be on the same strategy as everyone else out here, which is going to compromise his plan just a little bit, I think. But, as long as he can get pole, can't see that being an issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough call, isn't it, really? I think he's obviously doing it anyway, but, I think from the position he's at there on the grid, if he wanted to start on the mediums, from a strategic perspective, I'd be just sitting there on second row, or in second place, front row, and just letting it happen and see what I can do.
Definitely. So we've got one of these rare moments. We've got quiet on the track. There's like 3 cars out, a couple more just getting out the pits now to get involved in the fun. Still got ZGS not set a time yet. He's going to have to get out soon. Really is leaving it late here. 3 minutes to go. I know it's only a 30-second lap, but you've got to put something in, buddy. Whether or not he's going to miss this session or something, I don't know. But
yeah, I mean, it's good to see Chatty Duck doing really, really well this session, because he had a bit of a nightmare in around Britain as well last week. So it's great to actually see him giving that Ferrari a good outing.
Yeah, he did. I think he actually had the incident with Joseph Morales, if I remember. Whoa, what was the whoa?
He had a big slide there on the final turn. Just about caught it, I think. But yeah, he was looking like he was on the flyer as well.
Well, I'm riding on board with James Punt at the moment, who's setting off on what will be one of his final hot laps to see if he can better himself any more than 10th at the moment. He can't go any better there. He's gone a 10th and a half slower than his quickest so far, so he'll be heading around probably for another 2 or 3 more to see if he can get any quicker there. And the rest of the field is now starting to come out for the last minute sort of get your laps in, guys. But just looking at how busy the track is already, you can just see something's going to happen here. Someone's going to be pushing too hard. Someone's not going to get out of the way quick enough. It's going to go down. Shit's going to go down.
Yeah, I mean, you're just shifting that weight so much. I'm just riding on board with James there, and he's just shifting the weight through the S's and then into the final turn. You're shifting the weight of that car around so much. There's no wonder that mistakes are made.
So the driver I'm keeping an eye on at the moment is going to be Granty Boy, because he's going to have to better his time here, and he's gone 500ths quicker at the moment on this current lap. So we'll stay on board with him, because this could be the lap where he does take pole position back. He needs it to be perfect, can't afford any mistakes, and in all honesty we expect nothing less from the reigning champion, but we will keep an eye on him as he comes across the line here. 34 015 to beat, and he goes a 33.837, so he's taken us into the 33s, and one lap on the softs, and that's what he's done. So, I mean, it was never really in doubt when, you know, we started to know how fast he could be around here, 44th in the world. You expect him to take pole, and he's delivered.
No, 100%. I mean, but then, like we said, it depends what chaos happens down into turn one. They're all going to be leaving their grid boxes at exactly the same time. Oh, just seen a McLaren off there. Is that Lawson?
I think that was Lawson. It's Lawson that's gone off. I'm watching NUFC Fan Liam because he's still got to improve on his time. He's had a bit of a nightmare coming out that final turn as well, actually. He's just smacked a traffic cone. Looks like he is going to head off on another flyer, though, try and better himself in 6th. He was looking like he was having trouble at the start, but he's done better there. I think that's Peter that's come off the Red Bull as well, that's possibly caused all that confusion. I mean, not all of these drivers that have retired because they've crashed, by the way, we should say. I think a couple of them have just retired in their pits, realising that they cannot go any quicker. But we'll keep on board with NUFC fan Liam, because he's going to be one of the last drivers to set a hot lap here. There's a couple out on the track as well that are going to be pushing hard. Will he go any quicker than the 34.7 he's set at the moment to put himself any higher up the grid? He doesn't. It's a 35.05. That's not going to be good enough. We've got Osborne, who's on an out lap. He's not going to get that done in time. Joseph Morados trying to set a quicker lap as well. Currently a tenth slower coming across the line. Will he get any better than third? It's going to be a big ask. No, he's not going to get anywhere near Chatty Duck's time of a 34 dead. So, looking at the guys on track, I think that is going to be the end of this session. And that is the grid that we have. Well, actually, Osborne is timing his lap. No, it isn't. I was going to say. I think that might be a glitch in the game. It started to time it, but it's actually just added it on to the last lap. So, not too sure what's going on there. Right. So that looks like your final grid then. We've got Granty Boy on pole. Chatty Duck second. Joseph Morados and Osborne make up the second row. Rockstar, who had that crash earlier in the session, makes up the third row of NUFC fan Liam. Mogi and Albert make up 7th and 8th, and then rounding out the top 10 we've got Butters and James Punt. Butler, unfortunately, qualifying ban, not set a time there, and ZGS did get a time in the end, we should mention, and that was a 35.08 to put in 12th. So hectic qualifying session to say the least, but we got through it. And I mean, just looking at the retirements that were from crashes, I think we had, Trem, we had Peter, we had Rockstar, I want to say Wolsey as well. I think he might have had a bit of an issue on track. So we know that this track will probably catch a couple of people out, especially when it comes to the tight racing, because it is so narrow around here. But just waiting for the qualifying session to end. As we are waiting for the qualifying session to end, I think it is now a good time to start the next chapter of this brilliant segment, this beer chat.
Aaron and Tom's beer chat driving thing. Formula One driving.
Now we've got to give a shout out to DJ Stinky Pillow there, because that was a custom made jingle from DJ Stinky Pillow, and he didn't charge a penny. He made it so quick. Literally, we told him one day, you know, sort of something out here. We need something a bit catchy to play before we start talking about beer. The very same evening, that was on my Facebook Messenger waiting for me. So DJ Stinky Pillow for all your music
Big shout
needs.
Out. Big love. Wap, wap, wap.
Right, on to the main focus of beer chat, which is the beer. Aaron, what have we got?
Tonight, Tom, the first beer of the evening that will be enjoyed during Japan Short is a Hobgoblin Ruby. It's a 5.2% volume ale by Witchwood Brewery. And when you drink this, I want you to think legendary, think, you know, distinct. It's a ruby beer. It's got a sweet caramel and fruity aroma. It'll just really tease the taste buds, and it's brewed with smooth and rich chocolate and crystal malts and a blend of I don't even know what the hell that word is, fuggles.
Wow.
And Golding hops. So I must admit,
they sound made up.
You can't really knock a Witchwood beer because they're absolutely quality. What about yourself, man?
So I've gone a bit more traditional. Stated last week, love a wheat beer, love a German wheat beer. And I've gone for an Erdinger, which is something that I regularly pick up. I'm not going to lie, I've not pushed about out too far with this first beer, but I feel like it's important to get that in early and sort of go with something something you can set the bar to. Now, love a wheat beer. Erdinger isn't my favourite wheat beer because it is, as I was saying to you earlier, it is more of a, you can drink it, you can have like 5 or 6 and feel okay. With a wheat beer, I think you should be limited to 2 or 3 because they're so strong and hard hitting.
A bit more session.
It's a bit more session. I mean, still brewed to the Bavarian purity law, which just sounds, it sounds special, doesn't it? You know that something's going to be good. It is a cult, yes, yeah. We all brew everything to the Bavarian purity law here. So 5.3. So it's it's got a little bit of a kick to it. It's nothing too major though. And I'm really enjoying it. It comes in a bottle, but I've gone for a glass because I feel like beer is best enjoyed in a glass.
As I said earlier on, you're a very cultured gentleman. I said earlier on, so I respect that. I respect that.
And just looking at the glass, I mean, it's a cloudy sort of, cloudy haze. I can't see my hand through it. I mean, that's the sign of a good wheat beer.
That's what you want to be seeing. But there's plenty more beer chat to be coming later on in the evening because I think you've got a second because I know I have sitting in front of me. So
oh yeah, no, don't worry, I've got a second in the fridge.
There will be another episode.
I think we'll crack that open just before we get going in Monaco. Now, I'm not entirely sure what's happening with the lobby at the moment because Osborne managed to set like 5 or 6 laps after the qualifying finished, and at the moment I'm still staring at the race director screen. So apologies while we haven't moved on. Normally I get to sit back and do nothing at this stage, but it's not quite working at the moment. It says here that everyone's stuck. Great, it's not just us. Fantastic. Well, I'm going to take a picture of the grid just in case it all goes wrong again, because there seems to be a bit of a problem, doesn't there? We had obviously Russia last week, midway through the race, we had this go on, and we've got this happening now. This isn't.
Yeah, I mean it's allowed for beer chat. It's allowed for beer chat to happen, but there we go.
There we go.
But I think it's now time to close the beer chat. Let's close that because we do have a closing jingle.
And here it is.
Gets you drunker quicker. What comes in bottles or in cans? Beer. Can't get enough of it. Beer. How we really love it. Beer. Makes me think I'm a man. Beer. I could kiss and hug it, beer. But I'd rather chuck it. Beer. Got my belly out to here. Beer. I could not refuse it. Beer. I could really use it. Beer. Beer.
And there we go.
Yankovic supplying us with the second jingle. I mean, he didn't supply us with it. He just wrote that song and we stole it off YouTube. But it's so relevant and he's done it so well. Thank you, Weird Al. The best thing you've done since the eBay song.
Oh, what a tune that was as well. Meanwhile,
have you written to eBay recently, Aaron?
I haven't, but we do know someone who has.
We do know someone who has, yeah.
He loves a pair of lilac bowling shoes and holds a monkey grenade.
Yeah,
and wrote to eBay asking for a spare wheel.
Yeah, fantastic. It's just
what a bizarre little man.
Beggars belief the type of people we have to deal with on a daily basis. But never mind. That's chat for another day. Let's get focusing on the race. So formation lap's just about to start here. Don't need to recap the grid. We've already done that. We're happy with the grid and how it sits. Maybe we'll just go through a couple of people at the back. So, falling victim, unfortunately, to his accident, we had Trem qualifying 17th, who was showing us in the chat that he was posting some quick time. So I think he'll be a bit disappointed with that. Hopefully, he doesn't push too hard and make a mistake on the first couple of laps. It'd be a shame to see him waste his race. We've got Peter, who was having a bit of trouble last week. Do you remember we had that massive Red Bull sandwich?
We did,
in the beginning of Britain Short. He's put himself 13th at the moment. Hopefully we don't get the massive Red Bull sandwich again, because that will mean that he slipped all the way down to the bottom. And
I just also want to just check with you, Tom, just before the race starts, as we're about to start it. Have you got the next special surprise for this evening's session lined up?
I've got the surprise. Don't you worry, buddy. I know what's going down.
And I just want to give a quick shout out here because we've had a message on the YouTube from Frank Frennett. Good luck, Butler. Last to first, please. We all want to see that. I'd love to see that.
Right. So as we started off the stream, obviously with a big Murray Walker tribute, and it's only right considering the legend that he was when it comes to F1 commentary. We feel like it's only right to carry on in that esque this evening. So I give you the start of the race as Murray Walker would have said it. As soon as we can get these lights on, we'll get going with that. and that's the little treat we've got for you this evening. Just going to wait for these lights to get going. Obviously, we've had lobby issues already. Hopefully, we don't have to go through the same thing again, because that will really ruin the flow and the build-up that I've just made into all of that. If that happens, that would be quite typical of the day I've had so far, actually.
Let's very much hope not. I mean, I'm looking at the same as you here, and I can't see any lights. I can see every single car lined up on the grid. I don't know if we've got an issue with someone.
I reckon there's something going wrong for someone somewhere.
Let's just have a little gander here, see what's happening. Such a shame that this happens. It is such a shame this happens.
Do you remember the other week when we were commenting about how crazy the Spanish fans were whilst we were waiting for the race to start with the battle night? The Japan fans, no, they look a bit more reserved.
They're all clapping in sync though. Look at them go.
It's kind of scary actually how synchronised they are. Hands all go up at the same time. There's not very much, distinguished people. I can see like 25 people with the same grey hoodie on as well. I mean, come on, Codemasters, get this right.
This isn't North Korea. This is Japan.
Yeah, we didn't want to see military parades of children playing songs about how much they hate America.
And
we wanted to see.
I can't stress enough how the guy down the very front in the white hoodie looks so Predator.
Oh, he's not done it. He's just clapped. He's just clapped. So we know he's human. He's just clapped. But that's the only thing he's doing. Watch. He will not do anything else. He'll just clap. And if you can't see him, he's by the big pole at the front. There we go. There he goes, clapping again, like the psychopath he is. Oh, it's weird. Grant has just told us that apparently there's going to be a restart. So that really does screw up the flow for the evening. Because I was all ready. I was ready to introduce Murray to start the race for us.
He'll stay. He'll hang about. He'll hang about. He's a gent. So we're just waiting to see what's happening here. I don't know if there's going to be a restart lobby. It seems to be the way that it's going to happen. It's the second week in a row this has happened, unfortunately. But we can but wait. We can but wait and just talk about that Predator down in the front row. Look at him.
Oh, I mean, do you think he ever goes to the toilet? Or is there just a pool?
I think there's a drain there. I think they've fitted a drain below him.
Yeah.
And he just does his stuff there.